Hey everybody, it's Troy. I don't really know how to say this. This video is not going to be very good. It is not going to be up to the standards that I like for my quality. If you're a long-time viewer, you'll know that I've been working on this for a long time. I actually recorded the audio for this long ago, like well before Season 4 came out. I recorded it like a year and a half ago, right after I had done my first ever Spider-Man rewrite. And so I recorded it, and I couldn't bring myself to edit it. I don't know why. I don't know what it was. I don't think it was meeting the standard of quality that I like to put out. I'm not saying that I always put that out, but that's what I like to meet. And so yeah, I just kind of ended up shelving it until recently. A lot of people have been requesting it. And I figured, fuck it, let's take that same audio, let's finish editing it, and then we'll make the video out of it. That shouldn't be too hard. And I did. I edited the audio, and when it came to the video, it wasn't happening. I don't know what it was. You can say it's just I was busy. You could say it just wasn't up to that standard, or I don't care so much about the Flash anymore. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what the reasoning is, and it sucks, and I feel bad. I'm really sorry to the people who have been waiting for this and who have really wanted it, and it's not going to be a finished product because I just decided I just want to upload it now. Just upload the audio as it is, with just some basic text headers. Just get it over with and get it finished, and then that way I can focus on stuff that I'm actually passionate about. Also, it does not help that because it's so old, I was a dumbass little kid. I decided it would be fun to do voices for some characters. And oh boy, do I regret that, because it's bad. It's really bad. And that also might be part of why I'm having trouble editing this, because it's hard to get through, at least for me. This is just kind of a long way of saying this is going to be more like a podcast type thing. The visuals are non-existent. So you can listen to this while you're walking or doing the dishes or driving or some shit. Hopefully my opinion and what I have to say is enough, and my flashy editing style isn't the only reason you guys have subscribed to me, but yeah, and I'm sorry. I really am sorry. It's just I can't do it. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I genuinely don't. Anyway, I hope you guys like it, though. I hope you guys do enjoy, because I don't hate the script. I like some ideas in it. Just for some reason, I just couldn't push myself to do it. Anyway, yeah, I hope you guys like it. And let's just get into the video. Okay, so Season 3 of The Flash had a lot left to be desired. We were promised these really big things at the end of Season 2, and they just didn't deliver. The entirety of Flashpoint was just one episode. The mystery of who Savitar was stretched out till the second to last episode, and everybody had guessed who it is by then. There was no surprise, and that the idea of it's a good idea, but they just wasted it now. The worst part is there's a lot of really good ideas here. The idea of Savitar is a good idea, and it could have worked if we had a better writer working on it. So instead of that, I'm gonna try. Okay, so before we start off, let's go over big changes that I want to make. Firstly, for fuck's sake, Barry isn't a moron now. He doesn't need to stop every 5 seconds and be like, Cisco, what do I do? He knows how to use his powers. You can still explain things to the audience through Cisco, just not at the expense of Barry's character. He's been the Flash for 3 years now, and he still doesn't know shit. Okay, secondly, I want to change a little bit about Caitlin. We still do the Killer Frost transformation, but here it's a more gradual and personal change. So instead of Caitlin's powers just suddenly making her evil because who fucking knows. Instead, there's these voices that are in her head, and it's just little whispers. When they find out you got powers, they're just gonna dissect you. They're gonna do tests. You're nothing. You're just gonna be a killer. Yeah. It's sort of like the black suit from Spider-Man, just kind of fucking with her a little bit. So then, when the team finds out about her abilities, those fears feel like they're being confirmed, and that's kind of where Killer Frost comes out. There's no divide between Caitlin and Killer Frost. Caitlin becomes Killer Frost through the course of the season. Okay, and then HR. Personally, I would prefer it if Tom Cavanaugh this season was playing the original Dr. Wells from Earth 1. HR was a fun idea, but he was kind of forced into the season and it was a little awkward. Flashpoint was the perfect way to kind of bring the old Wells back. Pre-Thon, pre-season 1, But anyway, that's just a personal preference. For this, I think we'll stick with HR, just for simplicity. And so if we are going to stick with HR, he needs shit to do. Pretty much everybody this season needs shit to do, because, oh my fucking god, there are so many characters this season. Team Flash is 10 people now. I say we have HR kind of become Wally's coach or kind of trainer sort of thing. So they form kind of a pretty strong bond, and then that leads to a better friendship with Iris. And so he helps her out with the shit that she's doing, because she should also be doing more shit this season because she's a reporter. And so the three of them kind of become sort of like a little mini Team Flash on the side. We don't get a ton of screen time with them, but we know that they exist and that they're doing stuff, And maybe we get a whole episode for them. That would be cool. I don't know. I think that this dynamic makes it more meaningful when the thing happens in the finale. Okay, and so finally, we're gonna simplify the fuck out of this. Holy shit, this fucking season is ridiculous. ridiculously convoluted. There's so much shit going on with Alchemy and Savitar and him being from the future, him being trapped in the Speed Force, and him having a grudge against something that the Flash does in the future. And it's so ridiculous. Firstly, because we already got that. I mean, obviously the biggest issue with Savitar is that he's another speedster. He's a third one, but we're going to stick with him for this. But we're also going to simplify everything. It doesn't need to be so convoluted, because convoluted doesn't mean smart. I had to kind of go through this season to write this video. I still don't know what the fuck happened. I still don't understand most of it. And so also with this video, we're going to kind of gloss over the important stuff, because it's fucking 23 episodes that are 45 minutes. So I'm not going to cover every single detail of every single episode, because that would take fucking decades. So with this, we're going to just cover the important stuff. So we won't go into every single episode, but just like kind of the big overarching story, and maybe like a couple episodes that are important. So first off, Flashpoint isn't just like some episode. Instead, it's like this 2 or 3 episode like kind of special. And it has characters from all over the Arrowverse or Flareoverse or Super Flareover. I don't fucking know. What the fuck do we call it anyway? So we start off in a situation pretty similar to the Flashpoint we got. Barry's life is fucking awesome. His parents are alive. Wally's Kid Flash. Everything seems great. He still visits Thawne in that cell. Barry doesn't have his powers, but that's something that he's willing to live with, because it means that he can be with his mom and dad again. And also, like, Wally's Flash, so it doesn't really matter, right? Shit just feels weird. Something feels off, you know? Because it feels like time's been messed with. It's like the universe is like cracking, you know? So when Barry and Iris go on their little date, it's going really well. And then Iris just like kind of mentions like, yeah, like I remember you and Joe used to do something like that. And then she just freezes. And she just stares at Barry for a moment. And he looks around and he sees that everybody else in the coffee shop is doing the exact same thing. And then after like 30 seconds, they just go back to doing what they were doing. Like nothing happened. So Barry gets called to a crime scene at Ramon Incorporated. And and he sees, I'm sorry, I love this. He sees Felicity Smoke has been murdered. So he and Joe, they talk to the billionaire version of Cisco. Cisco just out of nowhere starts fucking attacking Barry. And that could be because he's Vibe and he has like a connection to the other timeline. I don't fucking know. So Barry doesn't have his powers and he doesn't know how to fucking fight. So he's getting the shit kicked out of him. And then everybody's just frozen and watches. So then out of nowhere, we see this arrow and it flies through the air and it pins Cisco's leg to the ground. And we look up and we see this like dark hooded figure with a bow. He's walking towards Barry and Barry's like, oh my God, Oliver, thank God. And the arrow grabs Barry by the throat. And he's like, Oliver Queen is dead. And Barry recognizes the voice. He's like, oh, fuck. Oh, no. So Arrow pulls down the hood and Slade Wilson says, who the hell are you? So Slade Wilson is the Arrow. And this leaves some kind of cool ideas for costume design. Maybe he's got like kind of like a black suit and he's got like a little half mask that's got the Deathstroke orange and black. I don't fucking know. So the Flashpoint Batman, Thomas Wayne, he's replaced by Slade. And so they team up with Wally and Iris and they try and fix things. Barry wants to go talk to Thawne and be like, what the fuck's going on? And so he goes to where he left Thawne and the place is surrounded by Argus guys. They started investigating because they noticed some fucking, I don't know, fucking comic book shit like temporal calcified Speed Force energy. I don't fucking know. So Barry thinks that Argus took Reverse Flash and, captured him. Wally and Iris, they suggest that Barry go to the only place that can hold the speedster, Belle Rev. So with Wally and Slade's help, the three of them, they get inside. So here we see glimpses of villains for future episodes, so like Magenta and stuff. And we also see some rogues like Mirror Master and Weather Wizard and maybe Captain Cold, I don't fucking know. Then we also see a familiar face. We see Ronnie Raymond. Ronnie is the equivalent of Flashpoint Superman. He's really scared and confused. He's been tested on. He's super, super dangerous. This is the Ronnie from season 1 when we first find him. His mind is all fucked up and he's really dangerous. They find the cell that could hold the speedster, and instead of Thawne, it's Edward Claris. Wally and Claris, they have a history. They fucking hate each other. So shit just hits the fan, and all the inmates, they break out. Wally's busy fighting the rival because they're the two speedsters, and Slade's taking on like 50 guys at once, or 10, like Daredevil hallway fight style. It's pretty fucking awesome. So Barry sees that Weather Wizard's about to shoot some lightning at Wally, and so he grabs his hand, and lightning goes straight into Barry's chest. And there's this big explosion, and everybody's knocked to the ground. And so when the smoke clears, we see Barry lying on the ground. So after a couple seconds, he takes a huge gasp of air and just vanishes. Wally and Slade look around, and then out of nowhere, there's this red streak that just passes through the hallway and takes down every single one of the prisoners. Barry slides to a stop in front of Wally and Slade wearing his suit. The Flash is back. We hear this loud as fucking boom from outside, and the three rush out to find Ronnie, and he's going full on fucking firestorm. His mind isn't fucking right, so because he hasn't bonded with Stein, and so he's about to go supernova, like the first Fantastic Four movie. Oh god, that was a good movie. And so he's gonna basically nuke the whole city. Barry's like, Wally, take Slade somewhere and evacuate as many people as you can. Barry tries to calm Ronnie down. He brings up Caitlin, but that only makes things worse because in Flashpoint, Ronnie accidentally killed Caitlin. Firestorm just explodes in this giant ass fireball. So he has no choice but to just run. He catches up to Wally, who's like, I can't run fast enough. And they're in just like this big giant wall of fire is right behind them. Barry has Wally stay behind him to siphon off his speed and stuff. And that works for a little bit. But then Wally trips a little bit and he's just devoured by the fire. Barry's thrown forward by the blast. He falls behind some cover and he blacks out. So when Barry wakes up, the central city is just nothing but rubble. He stands and he looks around. It's just nothing but just ash and a wasteland of death. And then we hear a voice. I love what you've done with the place, Flash. Barry turns around and he sees Reverse Flash standing behind him. So Thawne mocks Barry for what happened. He's like, you could have done anything. You could have killed Hitler or saved JFK. But no, you wanted to save your mommy. You missed her. So Thawne says, if you want things to go back to normal, this is your last chance. So what do you say, old pal? And Barry's just like, just says through gritted teeth, it's like, I want you to kill my mother. So Thawne thinks back for a little bit. He's like, you know what? Nah. On second thought, I'm not gonna. He's like, this is so much more fun. Your failure, your guilt, it's so much better than just killing your mom. I want you to live with this for the rest of your life. I want you to remember the time the Flash played God. And you got every single person that you love killed. And then an arrow goes straight through Thawne's fucking head or chest. I don't fucking know what. He falls over and we see just a broken and bloodied Slade standing over his body. And Barry knows what he has to do. He goes back to the night his mother died one final time. Tears in his eyes. He tackles his past self before he gets to the house and he stops him from saving his mom. Barry holds his younger self down while they both listen to Nora Allen's screams. Okay, so we're finally done with Flashpoint, and now I can finally get the season rolling. So when it comes to Flashpoint, they should really have a lasting impact on the universe. And I mean, some of these changes are pretty big, and we would need some communication with the showrunners, but I honestly think that they could, and they'd be better off for it. So firstly, Cisco's brother died in the accident, in that car accident, whatever. Caitlin has frost powers. Felicity's back in the fucking wheelchair, or she's dead. Either one. I'm okay with either one, because I fucking hate. Julian is Barry's forensic partner, sure, why not? Laurel never died. Fucking Christ. Jesus, don't get me fucking started on that shit. Jesus fucking. And Diggle's daughter is a boy. Sure, why not? Okay. Sarah becomes John. Who cares? And so Barry gets back, sees that things are different, and so here he tries to go change it again. So he's running through the Speed Force, and he just sees this flash of white lightning, and this giant fucking behemoth blows past him, and he's like, what the fuck is that? And he's distracted, and he looks forward, and he's just clotheslined by somebody. He's pulled out of the time stream, and he looks up and he sees Jay Garrick standing over him, and Jay's like, we need to talk. So they have that scene in the diner. Jay warns Barry about time travel. They have the cup thing, because I like that a lot. And so the first half of the season is pretty similar to what we got. Those husks start showing up, at least into the metahumans from Flashpoint, like Rival and Magenta and all that. We learn that they're being created by somebody called Dr. Alchemy. This is a pretty big change. I think that Barry should suspect Julian from the start for the same reason that we did, because Julian's a new fucking character. Julian's the new guy, and Barry's like, every single new person that we met has turned out to be evil. So, but he doesn't want to bring it up to the team until he knows for sure. So the voices in Caitlin's head, they just get louder and louder, and then she can't ignore them. And so she's horrified, and so she goes after Julian because she thinks that he can find Alchemy. And then she fights Barry and Cisco. They manage to calm her down, and they have this emotional scene where they just hug it out as friends, and they're like, no, we're never gonna leave you, we're never gonna hurt you, because you are our friend. And then we have the crossover. That's the same. Sure. Fucking, that was fun. Why not? Who cares? And then we get to the mid-season finale. And this is a blend of episode 6, Shade, and episode 9, whatever that episode was called. So Barry finally tells the team that he suspects Julian's alchemy. And Wally starts having these visions about Kid Flash. And he's finally told about Flashpoint. So then he leads the SWAT team and everybody to Alchemy. And there's a fight, and they overpower Alchemy. And so, okay, so here's a fucking big-ass change. I don't know if everybody's going to like it. I think it would be cool, but if you don't like it, you can ignore it. So Barry takes off Alchemy's mask, and he expects it to be Julian. And then we learn that Cisco is Dr. Alchemy. Been under that mind control from something, we don't know what yet. And his connection to the multiverse in separate timelines, it lets him tap into Flashpoint and give people these abilities with the Philosopher's Stone, which we also don't know what that is yet. We also learn that Julian he's working for Alchemy, also under mind control. Because this avoids the whole the new, what I was saying earlier, the new friend is the bad guy. The new guy turns out to be the villain. Because we've got that fucking 3-4 times or something. And it was so predictable. Nobody really cared. So yeah, I mean, if you don't really like that change, it's just an idea. You can just yell at me down in the comments below. Go for it. So then there's this blinding white light, and it zooms around the room, and only Barry can see it because he's only fast enough to see what's happening. And all the soldiers are just killed in the blink of an eye. And Wally's called to the stone, and he touches it. And he's put inside that like tree trunk cocoon thing, whatever the fuck it was. And so Barry's just thrown against the wall. He's pinned there. And we finally get our first look at Savitar. Barry's like, what the hell are you? Savitar, the god of speed. Savitar grabs Barry and just drags him all around the world, not just the city. He just starts kicking the shit out of him. He's just boom, boom. This dude's like a fucking beast, totally fucking shit. He's like Doomsday with the Speed Force. He's just destroying Barry. It's horrifying. Barry just manages to get out of his grip, and he just starts fucking booking it. He just has to run. And so they're running, and Savitar comes up from behind, and he just punches him in the back. He punches Barry so hard that he flies into a time portal, and he lands in May 2017 in Central City. Fucking the finale time. So Barry's just like broken and bloody, and he hears his own voice. He sees his future self, and he watches Iris be killed by Savitar. So we pick off winter break, and from here on, the season's a lot different. We're taking those overly complex ideas and we're making it simpler. The whole stuff with the stone and him being trapped in the Speed Force, that's gone. Savitar's here. He's a constant threat, and he's ready to fuck some people up. Oh my god. Joe breaks Wally out of the cocoon thing a little too early, and that has consequences. So at first, Wally's the way he was in the show. He's all vibrating and confused, and he's like, oh, and that goes on for like an episode. And Cisco's trying to come to grips with the fact that he was Alchemy without knowing, and Caitlin's voices are coming back. So she starts wearing was it a bracelet? Yeah, she starts wearing those to keep them down. And so Cisco and Caitlin, they work to help Wally, and they think they bring him back to normal. Wally gets home, and he looks in the mirror. There's a lightning storm outside. When the lightning flashes, he sees his reflection change to like this warped, like twisted version of himself. He's covered in like steel and metal. He's got red. So yeah, we're going there. So Wally's Kid Flash for a little bit, and he's like actually pretty good at it. He's a little cocky, and he's nowhere near as fast as Barry, but he has a lot of potential, and he's just fun to watch. And then he just slowly starts feeling a pull towards the stone again. The Philosopher's Stone isn't trapped in the Speed Force anymore. It's just in Star Labs being tested on by Caitlin and Cisco, or I don't fucking know. So he steals it, and he takes it home with him, and he's just kind of looking at it, and he feels it speaking to him. Out of nowhere, Savitar fucking shows up, and just blasts him with the stone, just shoves it into his chest. It's time you unlocked your full potential, Wallace. Wally stands up, and he's wearing the silver and red costume from the New 52, and he's like, oh yeah, this feels good. So we get an episode with an evil Wally. So he's corrupted, he's being manipulated by Savitar. And Savitar, he's like, the stone is just like a piece of, quote unquote, the heart of the Speed Force. And Wally can use the rest of it to save his sister. He can get that speed. So Wally opens up a portal of the Speed Force to get that power, and Barry shows up, and he turns him back to normal through the fucking power of friendship, or I don't fucking know. It's the Flash. But he's too late. The portal's already open. So he thought he had unlocked, unlimited speed, unlimited power. But he was so wrong. He could not have been more wrong. And so instead, we hear the screech, and the Black Flash comes speeding out of the portal. And so the whole time, the Speed Force has been hunting down Savitar, but he outsmarts it by using Wally. Black Flash senses the stone on Wally, and he mistakes that for Savitar. Barry tries to do something to help, but Savitar comes in and just beats Barry down and just kicks the shit out of Barry and runs away. And Barry's helpless as he watches his friend get sucked into the Speed Force. So Wally goes in after... This show should be based on Wally. So Barry goes in after Wally. And that episode's the same, because that episode was pretty fucking great. Jay shows up to help him, and they get Wally out, and Jay says he has to stay. He's like, somebody has to be staying here. Somebody has to take his place. And he tells Barry, I know you want to save Iris. Just remember, you are not a god, Flash. Cherish the time you have left with Iris, because it may be your last, and there's nothing you can do about it. I wish I had known that when it came to my son. So he gives Barry his helmet, and he takes Wally's place. So we get the musical episode, because, yeah, sure, I guess that's happening. I didn't like the plot of it. I think it should have just been the Brave and the Bold episode, where music, or like the Buffy musical episode, where everybody just starts singing as their own characters, like they're singing against their will and stuff. And so at the end of the episode, Barry proposes to Iris for the only time, the first time, only time, because we don't get that stupid shit. So the Abracadabra episode, Caitlin gets like seriously fucking hurt. Like she gets like impaled with a piece of rebarb. She's in like a coma. Jillian takes off the necklace to help her heal. Her hair just goes white, and her body temperature just drops to nothing. It drops to like 0 Celsius. She wakes up and she's horrified. She thinks they're gonna dissect her. She thinks that all of her fears are coming true, so she lashes out at Jillian. she accidentally sucks the heat out of him and she kills him. That also might be risky. Fucking deal with it. She sucks the heat out of Julian and kills him, and her body just gets back to normal. And she realizes what she's done, and she just fucking runs. She runs away. And there she meets up with Savitar, and he promises that he can help her. He promises that he can help her control her powers and find a purpose as Killer Frost. So Barry goes to the future, hoping that he can find some more information about Savitar. Shit's, all shit there, as one would expect. And so he manages to, inspire hope into 2024 Barry, and they team up and they fight the future rogues, and Barry has a better suit in the future, and blah, 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 blah. And then the future Flash tells the present Flash, who is in the future, how the present Flash can beat the future Flash in the present. Barry gets the schematics for that Speed Force bazooka, because why the fuck wouldn't he? That makes so much more sense. And then he goes back to present day. So Cisco tries to build a bazooka, and they need future technology to power it. And then maybe this is where you can bring in Dr. Larrabee if she's part of season 4, if she's a big deal, which I don't think she is. So the only thing close enough that could power the bazooka is the Dominator power source. That's at Argus. So Barry grabs Snart from the Legends, and they seal it together. They go against King Shark as the guard dog, blah, 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 blah. And then meanwhile, we see Caitlin training to use her powers, and Savitar's her mentor. So she's shivering. She's just frozen, and it's not even cold out, but her skin's blue, her hair's white, and Savitar explains that she needs heat to survive. She needs external heat now. He gives her some futuristic fucking Bunsen burner to tide her over, and he's this should be fine for now, but it won't complete you. The only way to really fulfill you is, and Keelan interrupts, and she's I know how. And she needs to kill people now to survive. So she starts to lose trust in Savitar because he's just never there, and it's and then so he steps out of his armor, and he reveals his identity to her, but not to us, except that's not at the end of the episode. It's not at the end of an episode after a 3-week-long break. It's not, we don't get that fucking bullshit. So Barry and Captain Cold, they steal the power core, and he brings it back to Star Labs, and Cisco starts to work on the weapon. And so we see that Savitar has a camera in Star Labs. So Caitlin's what are they making? And Savitar's a Speed Force stamping gun. It's not. Oh wait, he's not in his armor. Never mind. Caitlin's what are they making? And Savitar's a Speed Force stamping gun. This isn't going according to plan. That's not invented for 15 years. And Caitlin's what are we gonna do? And Savitar's well, it's time I paid them a visit. Savitar just breaks into Star Labs because they have no fucking security. And so he and Barry start fighting, and they get out into the street, and Barry's what do you want from me? Do you want to kill me? What? Because that's what we've all been asking. We don't fucking know what he wants yet. And Savitar's no. Fuck that voice, Jesus Christ. I'm here to make you better. You can be a savior to these people, but instead, you're too busy playing a hero. With your abilities, you could be a god. Barry stops. In his head, he starts piecing things together, and he's no. No, you can't be. Like I said from the beginning. Savitar's suit opens up, and an older, scarred Barry Allen steps out from the armor. I am the future Flash. Barry's how could you become Savitar? And Savitar's one day in the future, you're going to lose everyone you've ever cared about. All because you didn't push yourself to the right limits. And then he just starts fucking roasting Barry. He calls him out for all the shit that we hate. He's you're pathetic. You stop and talk before a fight when you could beat everybody in a blink of an eye before they even know what's happening. But no, because you're a nice guy. Because you have hope. And that's where you're wrong, Barry. That's what makes you weak. That weakness is going to cost you the people that you love. The people that I love. I lost my hope a long, long time ago, and look at me now. I'm a god! I'm just here to get you started a little ahead of schedule. So Savitar explains that he doesn't have the memories that Barry does. He's I thought it would, but that's the thing with time travel. It's always fucking changing. Go into the future to get the plans for that Speed Force weapon. Holy shit, that's genius. You really did come a long way. And I think I can make a hero out of you yet. Barry asks why he would kill Iris. And he's it's for the greater good. You just don't know it yet. Besides, to me, she's been dead for years. So Barry runs away, and Savitar just stays behind it and just fucking taunts him. He's she's gonna die, Flash. Might as well get it over with now. So Barry gets to Star Labs, and he searches everywhere, and he gets all the cameras out. And so Cisco starts to work even faster on the weapon. Savitar doesn't have any surveillance of Star Labs, so he's they've been planning for this for too long. They know what's coming. I think it's time I change my strategy. There's one alternative. It's not preferred, but there's another that the Flash cares about. So he goes back 14 years, and he's going to go back to the night that Barry first lived with Joe and Iris. And he's planning to kill Joe right in front of Barry, just like Thawne did with his mom. Because if Joe's killed on that night, it would have the same effect that killing Iris and May would. So we go back to Star Labs, and Joe's just convulsing. He's going to into a time seizure, and everybody's freaking the fuck out. And Barry just starts to get these flashes of traumatic memories from when he was a kid of Joe being killed by this ball of white lightning. He realizes that Savitar went back in time to kill Joe, And he's like, I have to stop him. I'm not going to lose my father again. Cisco warns Barry that if he goes back in time during a changing time stream, then he might get lost. So he needs to bring something like tangible with him, something consistent. So he brings Jay's helmet with him. And Wally decides that he's going to go too. And Barry's like, no, I don't need any friends. But then Wally's like, he's my dad too, Barry. I can't let everyone down again. So they go back to 2000 or whatever fucking year it is. And we basically have Terminator 2 with speedsters. And so while that's going on, they send Iris to Earth 2. So Jesse and Harry are there to protect her, and they take her a little bit further deeper into Star Labs there instead of just that first room. So Barry and Wally, they fight Savitar and they save Joe. And so because this was Savitar's only option, he goes back to the present and tries to kill Iris one more time. And so before Barry and Wally go after him, they see Kid Barry, and he's hiding in a corner and he's terrified. So Barry puts on Jay's helmet to hide his face, and he goes and he takes his younger self back to his room to take him to bed. Then the two Flashes chase after Savitar. So Barry shows back up at Star Labs and he's like, Joe's safe. We did it. Where's Iris? And HR is all like, she's safe. She's on Earth 2. No need to worry. And then Barry turns and, oh, fuck, it's Savitar. Who knew? Whoa, what a surprise. Whoa. So Savitar just blasts through the portal and he just fucking speeds all around Earth 2 Star Labs until he finds Iris. But he has to kill her in front of Barry. So he takes her back to Earth 1 and he meets with him. The Team Flash, they prepare for the last resort, their worst case scenario. Barry has the Speed Force bazooka and Joe's up on the roof with that rifle in case it doesn't work. There's a little quick fight between Barry, Wally, and Savitar. Savitar knocks Wally the fuck out and grabs Iris. He holds Iris up and he's like, you knew it would end like this, Flash. We all did. Are you ready to become a god? So Barry uses the Speed Force gun on him, and we think it's working. And everybody's like, oh my god, we won. But then Savitar slowly stands up, just using all his strength. And he's like, this is future tech. I am the future. He pulls out the Philosopher's Stone and he pushes it into his chest and gives him his speed back. And he's like, trust me, Flash. This is for the best. He pulls the knife out and he stabs Iris. And we still get that beautiful slow motion sequence with the music and with Iris's video to Barry. So Barry cries out and Iris West dies in his arms. So the next episode starts with Barry standing over Iris's grave. When we get narration from Barry, he's like, Iris West, my lightning rod, the only truly good thing left in my life, gone, taken from me by my greatest enemy. The one man who will always haunt me and torment me for the rest of my life, Eobard Thawne. So we see Cisco approach Barry. He's like, Barry, I'm sorry, but please don't go after him. It's too dangerous. We don't know where he is. He's like, I could have saved her, Cisco. He's like, how? We don't know where Thawne is. We didn't even know he still existed. There's no way we could have prepared for this. And Barry's like, I'm going to make sure that Eobard Thawne doesn't hurt anybody ever again. We see Barry open up a time portal and he catches Eobard by surprise in the future and he just starts kicking the shit out of him, just wailing his fists on him, beats him to a bloody pulp, and we get more voiceover. Killing Thawne wasn't enough. I had to make sure that every criminal, every metahuman, every single petty thug that I put down never got back up again. And so we see a montage of him killing people like Mirror Master, Top, Weather Wizard, dozens more. He's going full on like Godspeed Punisher type shit. He's like, I pushed myself to the limit. I became the ultimate hero. And Barry's lightning goes white because he gets faster. We see him running in his suit's a deep blue. He's like, but it wasn't enough. I needed to become more. So we see Barry approach Cisco in this like really shitty rundown Star Labs and he's like, I need a new suit. He's like, Barry, I don't understand what's wrong with the one I just made you. He's like, it's not enough. I need more. I need to be stronger. I need to be faster. Cisco's like, oh, okay, I'll see what I can do. But I mean, we don't really have the best resources here, so I don't know if I can. And Barry just pins Cisco to the wall. He's like, you will build me that suit, Ramon. And he lifts his hands up and he starts to vibrate it close to Cisco's chest, or you'll regret it. So Cisco slaves away for like day and night. He's building the Savitar armor. When it's finally done, he gives it to Barry, like, reluctantly. Barry steps in, and Cisco's like, well, how does it feel, Flash? And Barry's like, don't call me that. From now on, I am Savitar. So we get another montage of Savitar just like demolishing the criminals. He's speeding through the streets. He never stops. He never slows down. Nobody knows what's going on. It's like Kingdom Come, Wally West. When we get more voiceover, I became better than ever before, but so did the criminals, stepping up their game to try and stop me. Snart even became Citizen Cold to try and lead a force against me. Please, I took care of that quickly, but it still wasn't enough. So Savitar's running through the streets just out of nowhere. The city just starts to crumble. It's consumed by this giant fireball. Savitar just barely makes it out alive. He gets knocked back by the blast radius. He comes to a stop, and he overlooks the city that he once protected, and it's reduced to nothing but ash and rubble. He's like, no. He tries going back in time over and over and over again, but he can't figure out what it is. He rips off his armor, and his face is really horribly burned. He's like, this can't happen. After everything I've done for this city, this can't happen. Lightning fills Savitar's eyes, and he puts the armor back on, and he speeds off into a time portal. We pick back up again with Barry, and he's still holding Iris in his arms. Iris looks up at him, and she's just like, You should see the look on your face. It's classic. She touches a little thing on her neck, and we reveal that it's actually HR. So Wally wakes up, and he sees HR, his friend and his mentor, laying dead in Barry's arms. Barry and real Iris, they embrace each other, they hug, and he's just so relieved that she's alive and that they won despite all of their losses. So they go back to Star Labs, and Cisco's all like, Savitar's going to find out eventually that Iris is alive. We need a plan. And Barry's like, oh, I have a plan. So Savitar runs back to the future, and he sees that the world is like the exact same. Like nothing's changed. He's like, no, this isn't possible. And he goes back in time right into Star Labs. And he grabs Barry by the throat and just shoves him into the wall. He's like, what did you do? Barry's like, turns out you're not as smart as you think you are, Flash. Savitar looks over and he sees Iris walking towards him. He's like, no. And he gets his arm knife thing out again. And he starts walking toward Iris. And Iris is like, please, I know there's still good in you. I loved you once. You're still my Barry Allen. Savitar stops and he just thinks for a second, not anymore. And he plunges the knife into her chest again. The knife phases right through her, and she shimmers. She's a fucking hologram. There's this red energy pulse, and Savitar's armor just starts to break down. He can't move, and he's like, what's happening to me? And Barry explains that they're disabling his armor using the same technology as the Speed Force weapon. And Savitar's like, where is Iris? He's like, and Barry's like, you gotta catch me first. And he just starts running. Savitar breaks off his armor, and he takes the Philosopher's Stone, and it morphs and it changes shape until it's a lightning bolt. The stone is the future Barry's old Flash emblem. It's been energized after so much time in the Speed Force. So he places the emblem on his chest, and he just feels a rush of energy. He speeds off after Barry. Savitar catches up to Barry as they get to like that forest area. So he slams him into a tree, and Barry's like, you can't kill me. You know you can't. And Savitar's like, I don't have to kill you to make you suffer. I'll strip your hope away bit by bit for the rest of your life. And then you'll finally be the hero that you deserve to be. So Savitar's about to shove his hand into Barry's leg. Barry closes his eyes. So we flash back to the events of the last episode when Barry was in the past and talking to his younger self. He's wearing Jay's helmet, and he sits his younger self down on the bed, and he puts his hand on his shoulder, and he's like, I know times are tough right now. Probably the toughest they'll ever be. But I promise you, they will get better. Life is locomotion. You've got to forge ahead. Keep moving. Even if your path isn't lit, have hope that you'll find your way. There's a flash of yellow lightning, and Savitar's knocked back. And Barry's like, you see, you thought you could rip away my hope. There's another flash, knocked again. But that's where you're wrong. I'm done running away. Another flash, another flash, another flash. I will never lose hope. Savitar looks up, and he sees Wally West, Jesse Quick, and Jay Garrick standing beside Barry. Savitar feels a rush of pain. What's happening to me? And Barry's like, you got what you wanted. You made me a better hero. Now I'll never become you. The four Flashes fight Savitar, and just a last-ditch attempt to revolt against his past self, Savitar decides to kill Barry. If this world won't get the hero it needs, then it doesn't deserve one either. There's a blast of cold, and ice just starts to creep up Savitar's chest and slowly covers his whole body. We pan and we see Killer Frost stepping out of the portal with Cisco, Harry, Gypsy, Joe, and Iris. That's a really big crew. Maybe not that many people. Anyway, so Frost approaches Savitar, who, through icy breath, he says, Caitlin, please, we're friends. And Caitlin's like, you trust too many people, Barry. She sucks the life out of Savitar, and the god of speed crumbles into a pile of icy dust. So they have HR's funeral, and Barry and Cisco, they talk to Caitlin. She explains to them that she can't forgive herself for what she did and what she's become, and because of that, she can't come back to Team Flash. She goes off to discover herself and learn more about her powers. She hopes that she can control them one day in a way that won't hurt anybody. So then we go to Barry. He's just sitting in Star Labs, and then Iris approaches him, and she expects him to be all broken and like upset about Savitar, like mopey Barry like usual, but instead Barry says that he's happier than ever. He's like, we won today. We won because of ourselves, and we won because of hope. If what my future self said was true and that something's coming, I have hope that we'll be here to do something about it. All of us. They kiss, and then shit goes fucking sideways. Holy fucking shit. Lightning swarms the city. Cisco explains that the Speed Force needs another prisoner, and Barry's like, this is my fault. I should go. Iris tries to stop him, saying, Wally and Jay said it was hell in there. But Barry's like, I know, but I caused this. Flashpoint was my mistake, and now it's time I paid the price. Black Flash speeds out of the portal, and he just stands right in front of Barry, just looks him dead in the eyes, and Barry looks back and says, I'm coming. The demon snarls and zooms back into the portal. That was a joke, by the way. Iris is like, but this city needs a Flash, and Barry's like, they'll have one. And he looks at Wally, and Wally's like, no, I'm not ready. But Barry's like, yes, you are. You can do this, Wally. Now you're the fastest man alive. Barry says his goodbyes, and he walks into the Speed Force. So all in all, season 3 it really just fell flat. It was convoluted, and it was boring, and it wasted a ton of ideas. And I'm hoping season 4 can learn from those mistakes. And I'm hoping that it can regain some of the quality that was season 1 and 2. And from the looks of it, there is potential. Because we're getting the Thinker as the main villain, and Barry seems to be a lot wiser and happier when he gets out of the Speed Force after one episode. Okay, fuck this. I'm going back to Arrow.